what goes up.
Oi, Marie! Oi, Marie!
Deep in the heart of Texas.
The shadow knows.
I bet it's Manischewitz.
No, lady. I buy strictly American.
Time now for spinning my dad's vinyl. Here with all his skips, scratches, and pops is my dad, Frank Vaccarello.
Thanks, sweetie. And thank you for tuning into episode 190 of Spinning My Dad's Vinyl. Here's an artist dwelling in my father's collection we haven't heard from yet. We'll be hearing selections from the first of 3 Billy Vaughn records he had. Now, this record isn't just filled with the pop hits Vaughn would arrange and record for orchestra to be played on those easy listening radio stations. These are standards. In fact, the hit recordings of these songs sold a lot of records. So, get ready to hear 7 tunes that were recorded over 1,200 times combined over the years in Volume 190, Billy's Million Sellers. There is the Billy Vaughn Orchestra with Holiday for Strings, written by David Rose. This instrumental composition is best known for its use as the theme song for The Red Skelton Show for over 20 years. It was recorded 79 times as an instrumental or vocal version with the lyrics by Sammy Gallup. Spike Jones and Alan Sherman also put their personal touches on versions. Okay, why this record for this episode? Well, this artist is no stranger to being on the charts. In total, 28 of Vaughn's own recordings charted on the Billboard Hot 100 between 1957 and 1966. His most successful recording was Sail Along Silvery Moon, which reached number 5 in 1957. He was also no stranger to million sellers. 7 of his singles achieved this milestone, earning them gold disc status. These million sellers include some of his most popular tracks, such as Sail Along Silvery Moon and Melody of Love. Vaughn's ability to craft instrumental hits made him a significant figure in the music industry during his career. His orchestration and arrangements were known for his distinct twin saxophone sound and had a significant impact on the easy listening and instrumental pop music of his time. And he was heard quite often in the playlist for the first radio station I ever worked for, Big Band Grandstand and much more, and Music of Your Life. This next song is one of those, but we played the original version. Canadian Sunset by Eddie Heywood. Now, that song was recorded 240 times as an instrumental or vocal version with lyrics by Norman Gimbel. It was first recorded by Hugo Winterhalter and his orchestra, whose version was a hit in May of 1956. Okay, let me tell you about my dad's vinyl I have chosen for this episode. Billy Vaughn. Billy Vaughn plays The Million Sellers. It's on the Dot Records label, number DLP3119. It's a vinyl LP album format. It was released in 1958. Its genre is jazz, folk, world, and country, and its style is easy listening. We will hear 7 of the 12 songs on this album. Now, the liner notes are extremely short, so I will read them all. In the world of records, a million seller is the best there is. Few musical directors are more familiar than Billy Vaughn with this kind of superlative. As an arranger and conductor of many a million seller, he has repeatedly demonstrated a very keen feeling for popular taste, without which, of course, a hit record could never be made. In this album, Billy Vaughn and his orchestra present some of the greatest of the million sellers. They are songs that other recording artists first performed, and here Billy plays them again with a new and masterful and most ingratiating touch. Okay, let's see what prices this record is being sold at on Discogs.com. $8.80 for a high and $1.07 low for a $2.78 average and a $2.91 median. It was last sold on June 22nd, 2024 for $3. eBay had several for $10 to $17, and Amazon had some for $1.50 to $13. Now, my dad's record is in fair condition. There aren't too many bad spots on it, except at the needle drop point on side B. I had to wrestle with the beginning of Around the World to make it sound right. It's actually pretty amazing it sounds like this because the surface is covered in small scratches and markings, probably from the automatic turntable spindle my dad used for so many years. The album cover is in poor condition. It looks like the top got a little wet at some point. There's a dark spot in the middle at the top, and the paper from the printed artwork is a little shriveled there. The ever-present green magic marker streak and the word posted is on the back cover. He's got his typical address label on the front cover, oddly placed on this one. Well, maybe not typical either. I noticed something different about this one. It's got the second 4 digits of his zip code listed. I don't think I've ever seen one of those on my dad's albums. It was a practice that started in 1983. So I will value my dad's vinyl at 50 cents. Okay, this next song dates back to a 19th century melody. Tonight We Love, written by Freddie Martin and Ray Austin, but it was based on Piano Concerto No. 1, written by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. That song was recorded 46 times as an instrumental or vocal version with lyrics added by Bobby Worth. Okay, let's take a quick moment to learn about our featured artist. Billy Vaughn, born Richard Vaughn on April 12, 1919 in Glasgow, Kentucky, was an influential American orchestra leader and musician. Vaughn was best known for his smooth melodic style, which made him a popular figure in the easy listening genre during the 1950s and 1960s. He began his career as a pianist and arranger before finding success as an orchestra leader. Vaughn's music was characterized by the twin saxophone sound, a unique arrangement that became his signature and contributed to his popularity. His recordings such as Sail Along Silvery Moon and Melody of Love were massive hits and solidified his place in the music industry. Vaughn's contributions to music extended beyond his own recordings, as he also played a significant role in arranging and producing for other artists. He worked closely with Dot Records, helping to shape the label's sound and success during its heyday. His work earned him a lasting legacy as one of the most successful orchestra leaders of his time. Billy Vaughn passed away on September 26, 1991, at the age of 72. By the way, the Billy Vaughn Orchestra, co-owned and managed by his son, Richard Smith Vaughn Jr., is still a touring big band. Yes, still. Now, isn't that fascinating? There is Fascination, written by Fermo Dante Marchetti. It was recorded 265 times as an instrumental or vocal version, with lyrics added by Dick Manning. Okay, time now for this episode's first interesting side note, and it has to do with a word I use often around here but have never really explained. What does it mean when I describe a song as a standard? A standard is a song that has stood the test of time, becoming a timeless piece of music that many artists choose to record and perform. These songs are instantly recognizable and often associated with a particular era, especially in genres like jazz. What sets a standard apart is its broad appeal and adaptability. It's a tune that resonates with listeners across generations and can be reinterpreted in various styles without losing its essence. Think of songs like When the Saints Go Marching In or In the Mood. These are classics that have been covered countless times because they have a universal quality that connects with people. Standards were crucial to the recording industry because they provided a common ground for artists and listeners. During the early to mid-20th century, when the recording industry was booming, standards became a way for artists to showcase their talent while also appealing to a wide audience. Record labels knew that these well-loved songs would sell, so they encouraged their artists to record them, leading to multiple interpretations and a rich musical legacy. For listeners, standards became a familiar and comforting presence, something they could return to again and again no matter who was performing it. Okay, Here is one of those popular jazz standards I just mentioned, and it might just be the most popular of them all. Of course, a song made incredibly famous by the Glenn Miller Orchestra. There is In the Mood, written by Joe Garland, Jimmy Dale, and Wingy Manone. That song has been recorded 339 times as both an instrumental and with lyrics by Andy Razzoff. Time now for this episode's bonus interesting side note, and it has to do with the song you just heard and how it came to be. Kind of connects us to the previous interesting side note. You see, the melody you just heard was recorded under 3 other names before it became what we now know it as. The main theme or hook that became famous in Glenn Miller's In the Mood is a riff that originated in Wingy Manone's 1930 recording of Tar Paper Stomp. This catchy phrase, with its syncopated rhythm and infectious energy, found its way into several other songs because of its popularity and adaptability. The music industry in the early 20th century was highly collaborative, with musicians often borrowing and building upon each other's ideas. So here's Hot and Anxious from 1931 by Fletcher Henderson and Don Redman. Now, listen to There's Rhythm in Harlem from 1933 by Horace Henderson. Both of these tunes incorporated variations of the original tar, paper, stomp riff, each putting their unique spin on it. This was a common practice in jazz, where riffs and melodies were shared, transformed, and reinterpreted to fit different musical styles and contexts. Legally and culturally, these songs were not all called tar, paper, stomp because each composer or band leader who used the riff contributed something new to the arrangement, structure, or style, making the pieces distinct enough to warrant different titles. The music copyright laws of the time were less stringent about short musical phrases, so the riff could be freely adapted. Additionally, the naming of a song often reflected the band leader's branding or intended audience, making each title a way to market the song as a fresh and original creation. This practice highlights the fluidity of jazz, where innovation was often about reimagining familiar elements rather than creating entirely new ones from scratch. And something else I found about this tune. First, I had never heard the vocal version of this song, not surprising, but the Andrews Sisters did a great English version of it.
Mister, what you call 'em, what you doing tonight? Hope you're in the mood because I'm feeling just right. How's about a corner with a table for two, where the music's mellow and some gay rendezvous? There's no chance romancing with the blue attitude. You've got to do some dancing to get in the mood.
And it was recorded in a dozen other languages besides English. There are versions in Chinese, Dutch, Afrikaans, French, German, Swedish, Italian, Portuguese, Finnish, Spanish, one that has a Smurf theme to it in Swedish, and this one in Icelandic.
Yksi tyyppi kysyi multa minne mä meen. Vastasin ei sulle kuulu mitä mä teen. Niin se tarjosi tuolia mä haistatin veen. Kuule tunti kyllästyin jo istumiseen. Toimintaa mä tahdon nyt ja selväksi teen se on. Mä alan päästä nyt jo fiilikseen.
You gotta love the internet because it takes you around the world in seconds. But this song takes a little longer than that. Around the World, with music written by Victor Young. That song was recorded 205 times as an instrumental or vocal version by the likes of Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Eddie Fisher, and a host of other big names. It was the theme tune from the 1956 movie Around the World in 80 Days, a soundtrack I will be featuring later this year to kick off a month-long travel theme. In the film, only an instrumental version of the song appeared, although the vocal version has become by far the better-known one, with lyrics written by Harold Adamson. By the way, the composer Victor Young died in 1956, several weeks after the film's release, and he received the Academy Award for Best Music Scoring of a Dramatic or Comedy Picture posthumously. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Billy Vaughn had a few hits, and he had a few million sellers, so it was interesting to hear his treatment of other artists' hits from that latter category. And it brought back great memories of the overnight air shift I did at the Music of Your Life station in Cleveland all those years ago. Now, this is not an album I remember from my dad's collection. There's no telling where it might have been hiding in that house, but I have a feeling he might have bought something like this while he was dating my mom, because it came out during those years. Okay, most people will recall the version of this next song from an orchestra leader I just featured on the previous episode of this show.
So rare, so rare. You're my idea of angels singing the Ave Maria. Oh, you're an angel, I breathe and live you with every beat of the heart that I give you. So
So Rare, written by Jerry Hurst and Jack Sharp. That song was recorded 62 times, with the first time on June 4th, 1937 by Carl Ravel, the singing maestro and his orchestra, with the biggest hit coming from Jimmy Dorsey's orchestra and chorus in 1957. And there you have selections from an orchestra leader playing arrangements of some very popular tunes. So thanks for tuning into Volume 190, Billy's Million Sellers However You Did. If you want more information about this show, head over to spinningmydadsvinyl.com. I'll be back next week with all my skips, scratches, and pops for Volume 191, Master Ellington. Until then, go with the flow, my friends.